Welcome to Man Matters Podcast, where combat sports, mindset, and real-life lessons collide. Hosted by Derving and Nate, we dive into jiu-jitsu, wrestling, MMA, and the grind that shapes athletes inside and outside the mat. Every episode we bring stories, strategies, and raw conversations that fuel growth, resilience, and community. Stay tuned because it's more than a fight, it's a lifestyle. Welcome back to Man Matters Podcast, the show where we break down the biggest stories in combat sports, wrestling, and grappling. I'm your host, Derving, with Nate Shaw, and today we've got a packed episode. We're going to dive into the aftermath of UFC 326, with Charles Oliveira dominating Max Holloway with a grappling-heavy performance that could shake up the title picture. We'll also talk about the shocking moment where Cody Garbrandt literally threw up in the octagon after taking a brutal low blow to the nuts. There's a major industry news as well, including reports that Francis Ngannou may be out of the PFL and could appear in the upcoming card featuring Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano. We'll also talk about the strange situation surrounding Arman Tsarukyan and why he still appears to be figuratively in the doghouse with Dana White. Plus, we'll cover the shocking knockout loss of Patchy in Rising Fighting Federation, the bizarre controversy involving Tom DeBlas and Gordon Ryan, and the backlash surrounding Jon Jones after the announcement of a potential UFC event connected to the White House. We'll also take a moment to celebrate history in the first official NCAA Women's Wrestling Championship and what it means for the future of the sport. And of course, we'll talk about the moment when rivals Ben Askren and Jorge Masvidal finally buried the hatchet, years after one of the most famous knockouts in MMA history. So sit back, enjoy the conversation, and let's get into it. How's it going, man? Doing good. Enjoying this nice weather, finally. Getting kind of on and off. Finally break out that lawnmower today.
Yeah.
Because everybody was mowing. Know how it is. Are you in HOA or no?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Luckily, we don't have an HOA, but yeah.
Really? Oh, okay.
Because I'm in an old neighborhood, like a bunch of old people.
Yeah. I feel like old people love HOAs, though.
Yeah. Because kind of
like the board meetings and
they had no fucking time. they had no fucking time to go to them. That's
right.
Why.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of them but in Florida they have what they call retirement neighborhoods. That's what they are most of the time. Protect the pond. Do not fuck with their pond. You come fishing in their own pond.
Yeah, no.
Fuck you up. For today's show, let's go back again. So let's start at the beginning. The biggest event of the weekend, from UFC 326. The fight a lot of people expected the striking battle ended up becoming something very different once Charles got his hands on Max Holloway. Were you able to watch the match?
Didn't watch the match. I saw like clips of it, but
I was like one thing. Like, boy, we're a little off during our prediction because we didn't take consideration Oliveira's size, and he's a heavy grappler.
Yeah,
because other fighters was able to close distance because it was a rematch between the two of them. But he was mostly wrestling dominant. So he was holding him down. He wasn't going for a submission attack, not striking, in which I saw what's the name, Ben Askren in DC. They were talking about there should be new rules because it's a BMF title. It's not like other titles. And as much as he hates to say it, it should be a max of 3 takedowns per round.
Wow, okay.
And then if they're not doing if they're going for a submission, then it's okay. But if they're not doing anything on the ground, a minute or two, standing back up. Kind of like, I don't know if Pride was like that because they used to stand you up sometimes in Pride. He's not doing no action. That which make it interesting for the BMF title because it's the BM baddest motherfucker.
Right.
You want to see action, not just holding somebody down.
Nate Diaz, boring motherfucker.
Even Conor McGregor was talking about it. Charlie,
Really?
he's calling Charles Oliveira, calling Charlie. You didn't deserve that belt. But he doesn't have much to say now. Conor, he just, according to Dana White, Conor McGregor probably tried to kill himself because they weren't able to get a deal with him for the White House car.
Okay.
I don't know whether the negotiation took place, but he was able to get in there.
What do you mean I have to test?
You have to be negative for all drugs. They are excluded, but for your drug test, you have to test negative. But yeah, man, dude, I was surprised how Holloway was dominated in that match. For Holloway, I don't know what's next for him. Maybe Dan Hooker fight at 155. This is not a 155. He cannot go back down to 145 because he has Volkanovski as the champion there. Doesn't want to go down to 145 and then go through all those guys. Because he looked undersized in that match against Oliveira.
Yeah.
And also for
I would think yes, because I mean, yeah. As good as Oliveira is, he's not been on a great streak lately in that division. So if you're losing to him, I don't know. I mean, yeah.
And I think they'll match him up anyway because he lost a trilogy to Volkanovski. Luckily, Volkanovski is getting older, but you have other guys in there like Murphy rather, is in there, and which they're supposed to be the next car. Supposed to fight each other, Murphy, well as a title eliminator. But what do you see, Oliveira? Do you think they'll put Oliveira versus Arman? Arman is not going for the lightweight title as a BMF, fighting everybody except Islam. Anybody out of the competition, out of the UFC, any competition, you just sign him up. He'll be your local Naga next week, by the way.
Yeah.
He's anywhere.
I don't know.
I can see, well, he's the president now, Oliveira. It's not Du Bronx. Now I see what he had a good point when he said that he was going for the BMF in the lightweight title next. Try going both of them. Because both of those guys were coming from 145. He's a bigger size guy. The guys that he had trouble with, Topuria, fly him out. First of all, I don't know if he's going to overcome that. You're the 145. He might be 145, but he has heavy hands and they're lethal. Hasn't been able to overcome that unless he's able to close distance. What he will do different in this one to against Topuria. But I don't know, man, how he will be able to make up for it. But to get the lightweight title, unless Gaethje wins it. Now, if Gaethje wins it, there's a possibility that he might be able to get the title. I like.
Yeah, I mean that is true.
Because he beat Gaethje before.
See that? Oof.
But it's hard for Gaethje to beat Topuria.
Well, that's kind of my thing. That seems like a really long shot. So
another fight that was impressive was Borrallo versus De Ridder. Borrallo was really good. He was like good position control. He got nice, clean strikes exchange. He was good top pressure. And he's doing well for the Fighting Nerds camps, which is the main guy at this moment for them. I mean, his unanimous decision, all three cards, 30-27. Grappling-heavy contest. Do you see him going against maybe Jared Cannonier or Whitaker to move him up the ranking? Well, Whitaker is now 205 though for a matchup. So probably Cannonier.
That doesn't seem too crazy to me.
Do you know that Cannonier used to fight heavyweight? Now he fights at 185.
Really? No.
He did the opposite of Alex Pereira. He started heavyweight. He went up to 185.
Wow. Huh. So work his way back down.
Yeah. Usually, later in your career, you go up, you don't go down.
Right.
Another prospect opponent for Baralo probably will be Paulo Costa. Where is he? Because Paulo Costa is coming up too. There's a good talent eliminator for those as far as ranking. In the Rosas, Chiwiwi, he beat Rob Font. He was mostly grappling that he did. He got a high crotch, he was taking down. Considering he's only 21 years old, he has a number next to he's a ranked guy in the UFC.
Yeah, I mean he's done really well.
Mm-hmm. But he's moving stuff up the ranking.
Yeah. He's got good control.
Do you think they'll match him up again? Maybe Son Yadon or Corey Zahagan? Of course, Zahagan would be it'd be freaking suicide if they put against Corey Zahagan.
Yeah.
Because Corey Zahagan is nice grappling, leg locks, attacks, and his boxing is nasty too.
I feel like they're gonna keep working him up fairly slowly, but
maybe giving up Dan Ige, maybe. Because it's work his way before they put him into the top 5 guys in the division.
Yeah, 21's just so hard to have the experience and knowledge going into those higher ranked matches. Those guys are just, they're veterans at that point.
Yeah. For sure, don't give in Diego. Diego coming off a loss against Volk. Shit. How about they give him fucking Gene Silva? That'd be a nightmare.
Yeah.
For Raul. Because a loose cannon.
Yeah.
Barking. Gene Silva. Now, knockout on that was Gregory Rodriguez. He went against Bruno Ferreira before. He lost the match against him before. He was thinking of the decision, but he was able to knock him out in the first round, like 147 in the first round with right hand. Ferreira, he was switching his stance from orthodox to southpaw. And as soon as he was doing that, Rodriguez went for a straight right. He just dipped and boom, up that right behind his guard. It's good that you can switch stance in striking. I'm not good at striker, but what I've heard as far as striking, it's good that you can switch stance on your striking, but your defense changes when you switch stance. So you're able to defend. Your reaction time is coming from a different angle. When you start your strikes, usually with your left hand is your jab. Now it's gonna be your straight. Because most of the time you strike with your straight. And this is different too. But he was caught in there because he was switching orthodox. When he switched to southpaw, he just dipped to the outside of his strike, and he just ate a straight. It's like even in slow motion, you can see his back foot of Rodriguez coming off the ground, just hit him with everything. But it looks like most of the matches that were grappling dominated matches for that night. We were off to Drew Dober was he beat Michael. I can't remember his name now. Michael Johnson. He got a TKO in the second round. It was bad that he was on the ground. He went down for Michael Johnson.
Really? Wow.
I can see Drew Dober going against Dan Hooker after this fight. Speaking of things not going the way anyone expected, one of the strangest moments of the night didn't even come from a knockout or submission. It came from a low blow that had Cody Garbrandt literally throwing up in the octagon. So Cody Garbrandt was in the prelim main event going against Xiaolong, and we were giving the match to Xiaolong, in which he would have won that fight, but he threw a low blow against Cody Garbrandt, and he hit him so hard that they had to bring a bucket, and he was throwing up in the octagon.
Dude, that's gotta be.
How hard do you think that was? Because he had a cup too.
Yeah, I don't want to think how hard that was. I've never been to that, not even close to that point, really. Oh.
Do you think 5 minutes is enough time to recover from that kind of shot? Because they give you 5 minutes.
From that, I don't know.
How do you walk out of the cage if you're that bad injured? the 5 minutes had gone up, did he carry you on the stretcher while you holding your nuts?
Yeah.
How do you handle that kind of situation? It's a weird injury. So what happened? Walk us through the incident.
Yeah.
I was
Walk
in the
us through
fight.
how you felt.
This guy just blasted me in the nuts, and then see how long he lost the match, because right after that, they went again. He went for another low blow, kick him in the nuts again. So another point deducted. So it's 2 points deducted right there. So he lost the fight because he beat himself literally.
Dang, that sucks for him.
Yeah.
Really, it sucks for Cody as well, but
Yeah. You know how freaking Rafi was showing picture of his leg after he fighting Aldo whenever his leg got beat up. Man, he's like, oh man, this is what happened to me last night. Showing his nuts just blew from getting kicking the nuts. Yeah, I have to go for the hyperbaric chamber for that. You recover? Let me bring an extra cup next time.
yeah.
Now, with the UFC 326 had plenty of headlines. One of the biggest stories of the entire sport right now isn't even happening inside the UFC. Reports are circulating that Francis Ngannou may be done with PFL, which raises a lot of questions about where the former heavyweight champion goes next. Well, back up. So he originally had signed with PFL a groundbreaking deal that included leadership in PFL Africa. He had fighter advocacy involvement. So he's trying to fighters rights and things like that. And he had freedom to pursue boxing, which he did. He was able to go against Tyson Fury and go against Anthony Joshua in part of his deal, which was the deal, that issue that he had with the UFC. He was able to be boxing, same time as competing in the UFC. Well, whenever the PFL Africa event happened, he never showed up over there. And PFL was not happy about that. They think that's one of the main things that, well, at least that fire starter of the fail of that relationship.
I would think, yeah.
Yeah, as much as they pay him, so you usually have, because I consider kind of a job position within the organization. They should have somebody else for that. But if they have a fighter carrying the weight of Africa on his shoulder as a poster guy from there, and you give him a job position, you expect him to fulfill the duties of certain position.
I mean, yeah, that's just how it works.
And do you think was this business model too complicated from the beginning for him? Or maybe it wasn't at the beginning, because remember he had a lot of things going on after that. Remember he had a kid that passed away. He got the deal. So he took some time off during that time. And then recently he had been an accident that somebody else died too. The pedestrian died. It was like a 4-wheeler accident, something like that. I think that's what it was. But he had a lot of going on during that time. But I'm not sure. Do you think they gave him too much leeway for the promotion for him to?
I mean, it's hard to say, because he doesn't seem to mesh well with promotions in general.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that is. I don't know if he wants more freedom. I don't know. Yeah, who knows?
Because he had more boxing matches than he actually had fights in PFL that I can recall.
Yeah.
It's an MMA promotion. You expect you to fight here. And then interesting you brought that up, because since now they did because the press conference for the Gina, Carano, and Rousey, and he was there too. And one of the reporters asked him, like, what do you think about this for your legacy? Or something like that. They asked him about that. And then he asked, what do you explain to me legacy? Legacy, what do you use your career as a fighter? He said something along the lines that legacy is something that promoters, they feed to the fighters. They fight for legacy. He doesn't care about legacy. He has family to provide for. He has to bring food, pay for the school, and all those kind of stuff. You cannot go to the gas station or go to pay for the kids' school with legacy. This is bullshit. Just fuck your legacy and pay me my money. That's what he said. Which makes sense when other people that did business with say that he sounds like. But how much is he charging to fight? Because he's not getting any younger either. He's 30s, I think. How old is he? He's 39 years old, about to be 40 years old. So he's up there. But even though he's in the, I don't know how much Jake Paul is paying him. He's not really headlining the card. It's Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey headlining the card. So there's not telling how much to pay him.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if he put more into his legacy, they'd keep him around.
I mean, I think Anthony Joshua is in there too with them, with Netflix. That's not a match, but I don't know if he wants to do that. But there's other people that he might be able to go against. Somebody that's really good boxer, even though it's not as technical as Anthony Joshua, probably be Deontay Wilder, perhaps. Two of them are heavy-handed fighters, heavyweight. But only time will tell. Speaking of complicated relationships between fighters and promotion, there's another situation brewing in the UFC that people can't quite figure out. The situation of Arman Tsarukyan and why he still seems to be in the figurative doghouse with Dana White. So for some reason, I'm not sure why he's still having trouble with getting booked a fight. Because even whenever during the fight this past weekend, he was wearing handcuffs, like free me, like said, like because he was still chained down. He was not giving much of a fight to fight for a title or anything like that along the lines, or having somebody. They gave him game rat thing. He was able to beat him. But they asked Dana White about it, about Arman Tsarukyan. He said they asked him about the RAF incident. And was he against other fighters being part of the promotion or trying to be involved in the promotion? And he said he's like he didn't mind that. It's just an Arman issue that happened. He's okay with guys going over there and competing for RAF. But RAF, he said, well, there's smoke, there's fire. And Arman has been smoking a lot. So there had to be some other issues that be going in the background as far as negotiation that's the reason there no something going behind the scenes that's preventing him from getting those kind of matches in the UFC.
Yeah. It is strange. I mean, Dana definitely has his favorites, and he keeps his own reasons as to why.
Yeah.
But
he even removed him from the pound for pound list in the UFC.
Really?
Yeah, Arman Tsarukyan was removed from the list. I just saw that today. Which is, well, it's subjective, pound for pound, because it's an opinion. But also you have to take into consideration the activity of those fighters. Are those fighters active?
Right.
If Arman hasn't been fighting a lot, but it's not his. Is he his fault that he's not fighting a lot, or is it the promotion that's not giving fights? That's a question.
Yeah, it's so too many unknowns on that one.
Yeah, because you cannot punish him for you not giving him fights. But also, if you're not willing to come with the pay or whatever it might be to get your match, that's also your own fault. Or whatever. I don't know who his manager is because man, I'll be fighting him too. He's not able to give me any fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need some fights. But also, he's not here for money either. That's the thing too. So, because he has money is not an issue, probably. I don't know if that's the leverage issue that he might have with Arman. But I don't know. He had to at least fight for a BMF title or something like that. Something to keep him active to get some money going for his legacy. To go back and get the legacy to the business. Because he's not getting fights for a title. He's hanging around with Dana White's favorite reporter though, Anina Drama.
Yeah.
You should think she'll be able to talk for him or something to a certain extent.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, work out for Alex Pereira.
Right. Yeah.
But Alex Pereira will fight anybody anymore.
True.
It's not. It's the opposite of Arman. While the UFC lightweight division sorts itself out, another big storyline happened overseas in Japan, and it shocked a lot of fans. Former Bellator star Patchy Mix suffered a brutal knockout loss competing in the Rising Fighting Federation. Now, Patchy Mix, he was doing really good in Bellator. He came to UFC. He went 0-2 in the UFC, and they released him earlier this year. Then he went to Bellator. no Bellator, but he went to Rising, and over there they use pride rules. He lost in the second round to soccer kicks to a 19-year-old.
My gosh.
That does not look good for your career.
No, it does not.
Was Bellator a watered down promotion or competition? That whenever he went to two other organizations after that, he still goes 0-3.
I mean, it's not. I feel like it's not the first case of that. There's certain guys that have come from there that do okay, but I feel like those are like the exceptional guys from Bellator.
Bellator.
Yeah.
Eddie Alvarez is the opposite. Eddie Alvarez was able to become champion. Also, Eddie Alvarez was Eddie Alvarez before he went to Bellator. He was the Underground King. That's the nickname. Patricia Pitbull, as another guy that came from Bellator. He was really good there. He has been consistent in the UFC. I think he trains on their Cejudo's team now. Patricia Pitbull.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So that might be a change of camps. That might help some. Training here, be able to get some good competition and also build some quality reps. Because I mean, Cejudo, they have a good. Some of the guys, whenever they train on him, they do pretty well. There was a Figueredo against Brandon Moreno. He was able to beat Brandon Moreno while he was training on the Cejudo. Samway Lee, when she was going, I think, against Rosa Majunas, she was able to win. So they have a pretty good record when it comes to coaching. High level guys and girls. But for the match he picks, I don't know what he's going to do. Because his girlfriend, Tatiana Suarez, she's really good too. She was in the UFC. She was defeated until she ran to Valentina Shevchenko. Which everybody that goes to Shevchenko, non-name Amanda Nunes, get a problem with her.
Yeah.
But it is crazy that he losing to a 19-year-old to soccer kicks.
Yeah, that is a brutal way to go down.
Mm-hmm. He was bloody during the fight.
Really?
Yeah, he was covered in blood after the fight. That's not good.
No.
He was in the bar fight. That's how bad it was.
Dang.
Mm-hmm. From shocking results in Japan, we shift to something a little more bizarre happening in the grappling world. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community was buzzing this week after a strange social media situation involving Tom DeBlas and Gordon Ryan. For those that missed it, Gordon Ryan posted a fake death online of Tom DeBlas on Sunday, which is pretty weird. He said that his plane never landed and that Tom DeBlas was dead. But then, what's his name? Tom DeBlas, but he finally came out and said that no, that's not what happened. He said allegedly said Tom DeBlas jacked his phone, but that was not the case. It is pretty weird that he posts something like that. You consider like he has family and kids.
Right.
People that look up to him.
Exactly. Yeah. Family, kids, and the pretty massive industry that he influences, or not industry, I should say, community that he influences.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty. It's not tasteful.
Yeah. Gosh, I took a picture of Tom DeBlas, what he said about it. So, and he was on the flight to Thailand. He said years ago, Gordon joked that he was going to post that he died. And his response was like, the internet would explode. And he actually posted it back then. And probably close to 10 years ago, we laugh about it. But this is a completely different world now. That kind of thing can't be posted anymore. I honestly figured he knew that. My Wi-Fi wasn't working on the flight. When I finally connected and I woke up, literally thousands of texts and DMs. The worst ones were Danielle and my mom. Imagine the fear that felt seeing news articles saying I was dead. My Wikipedia was saying I died because even I look up the Wikipedia, it was showing that he was dead.
No way, really?
Yeah, people were messaging them, asking if it was true. I'm super fucking annoyed right now. To everyone who saw that and was worried, I am truly sorry from the bottom of my heart that you had to read something like that. But let me make something very clear. I'm not leaving this earth for a long time. That's what DeBlas said. That's what's the word for it? That's kind of messed up that he did that. Being reckless, more like it.
Yeah, reckless is a good word for it.
Because people don't care about going right and down, probably his case, but doing somebody that actually somebody look up to him.
Mm-hmm.
But I was joking around. Maybe Moneyberg made him do it as a test to his loyalty.
Yeah.
I waiting to post this right. And it was a weird picture of DeBlas. It was an old picture of DeBlas wearing a shirt.
Yeah, that was
poor taste. To the very least. And that's the problem with misinformation in combat sports media.
Travels fast too.
Yeah. Bad news are also, especially somebody that a lot of people follow. Because the jiu-jitsu community, it is tight because it's smaller than the regular population. So it spreads fast. And especially you have somebody that a lot of people have in common that they follow online. And the first thing you see on a Sunday morning is that post. You see nothing else.
I don't know. Maybe he's trying to stay relevant somehow, some way.
Yeah. He probably got in a bad argument and said, "You're dead to me," and he just posted that.
Yeah.
Because somebody's dead to him, now the whole world knows that he's dead. So messed up. You're joking with your friends? Yeah, maybe. It wasn't that, but do what? Everybody, somebody's.
Right.
Even though, like, do you ever, whenever back in the day, they had like illegal streams of online for watching fights during pay-per-views. They used to have a forum on the side, or like a chat on the side. And one of the most things that people will post in there, RIP Joe Rogan. Like every time somebody put RIP Joe Rogan. So that became a running joke. Everybody's like RIP Joe Rogan. You see that all the time. Funny. There's some people that were new, they're like, what the fuck? Started looking to see Joe Rogan die. And then one thing was, I don't know if it was part of a joke, but have you seen the picture? Whenever George Michael passed away. Remember him? That singer? Careless Whisper.
Okay, yeah.
Somebody posted this right here. This picture of Joe Rogan. I mean, of. No, probably that's where it started, that joke about RP Joe Rogan, probably.
Yeah.
It was like George Michael, like RP George Michael. Here's this picture. Back in the day when
my gosh.
You gotta have faith. I think that he sings that too, George Michael. But man, yes, like, that's going back to the what's his name? Go around and tell DeBlas, that's just disrespectful. Because he might not have positive influence as much as Tony DeBlas does, because a lot of people look at him and things that he advocates for. And he's a good person, Tony DeBlas.
Gordon has a lot of followers, a lot of influence, maybe, but yeah, not the positive influence that DeBlas has.
No, not as much.
But yeah.
Good cop, bad cop. If they were that person, two people, that will be them.
Yeah.
And Tony DeBlas also take things a lot seriously. Not as much serious sometimes. But even though in weird situations, remember that what's his name? The fake Brazilian guy, Renato Laranja, whenever he was at CJ, I took the weird interview.
Yeah. That was...
He took it a lot lighter than some other people would have taken it.
Right.
Whenever he's like, no, I know Laranja for a couple of years. He's just joking around. That's what he said after the interview. He wasn't like really mad about it. Do you remember what was said?
It was so awkward, though. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he
was it something about him being abused or something like that?
Yeah, he was molested as a little kid. He's like, you must have been an attractive kid. It's like, what the fuck? And then he's like, oh, you must be Puerto Rican. It's like, no, I'm not Puerto Rican. I'm part Italian. Like, you wear a chain, you have the nice hair. You must be Puerto Rican. It's like, no, nothing. He was hit and miss. Shooting and miss. That's what trying to see whatever he can stick to the wall. Just throwing shit. Renato Laranja. But dude, that was awkward interview.
Dude, that was I remember. Yeah,
Even like that, he didn't took him as hard as most people would take it from
thankfully,
DeBlas.
yeah, yeah.
Boom. Yeah. Don't believe everything go right. I posted, by the way. Now, if you thought that was strange, the next story might be even more surreal. UFC is reportedly planning an event tied to the White House, something that will be sounding possible just a few years ago, considering how MMA wasn't illegal in all 50 states. I think it was 2017. That's when finally it was illegal in New York. And now from them, almost 9 years ago, now to the White House card. What do you think is of a symbolic meaning for hosting fights tied to the American institutions? The fighting spirit of the United States. But meanwhile, you only have one American in the car.
Yeah, yeah. Did they release the full card then?
They did not just the main car.
Okay.
It's at 3:30. So there you go. We have starting from the bottom: Lopez versus Garcia, Onico versus Dacus. I think Matt Brown was talking about it. How some of these guys like he doesn't even know because compare like UFC 100 to UFC in the White House card, it's weird. So Dawkins, I don't know who he is. Bo Nickel is in there in the main card. Rufy versus Chandler. That might be the fight that they know was talking about. That Conor might have hung himself, kill himself after this one. Because that's a lightweight fight. Sean O'Malley versus Ayman Sahabi, which is Faraz Sahabi's brother. Matt Brown was giving hell about that. He's like, who is this Sahabi guy? But he beat Jose Aldo. I think he was at 140 or 145 because Jose Aldo did not make weight. Now he going against Sean O'Malley, the Sugar Show, which that would be interesting. Fine, and then you have the heavyweight interim championship between Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gahn, which you can expect that being the fight of the night.
Right.
Those two.
Yeah.
But for the heavyweight striker.
Yeah, that should be very exciting.
And then the main event is the unification of the lightweight title, the undisputed versus the interim, Topuria versus Justin Gaethje, Ilya Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. Allegedly, according to Topuria, he said that he was trying to get the fight with Islam Makhachev, but he was ducking him. Islam Makhachev didn't want to fight him.
Okay.
But because he had a hand injury. But Topuria's manager, he was in an interview with John, and I just watched it this morning. He was talking about what that negotiation was like. He said it was rough because he didn't get no calls until that deal didn't happen until that Friday night for Saturday morning for the fight. He said he got a call at midnight. In about he was from midnight to 11:30 in the morning. He was going an hour talking to Topuria, an hour talking to Hunter Campbell, going back and forth, see what the DLC. Islam Makhachev was going to fight him. And then, but he said Islam Makhachev was never part of it. There was a potential because that was the fight they were looking for. They don't care about see how the ranking is. He's just looking for the most buck that they can get for it. I mean, that's promoter and managers, that's their deal. Most money they can do as soon as possible, as fast as possible, which will be that one, Islam Makhachev versus Ili Topuria. But he said that there was never a deal for Islam Makhachev. Maybe Topuria was looking for that fight because that would be good pay. After getting divorced, he didn't have to split that check.
Right. Yeah.
His first full check that he's gonna get after not being married. But he said that that was never a deal. So yeah, the just engagement had to be doesn't have to do. Another one that people were looking for in this car was Sean Strickland versus Hamza Shemaev. But I don't know. I think they might do that one later on. That fight, those two. Sean Strickland, I don't know Will you say that he deserved a title yet, even though he's coming off a couple of losses?
I mean, I wouldn't think so with the recent losses. He might be close to it. He might be close to it, but
because he lost against DDP, Dricus Duplessis. The first one was really close. He couldn't go either way. The second one, he got dominated for the title. Then he fought another one. He wish he won that fight. But I usually go like a 3 winning streak kind of rule. If you have like 3-5 winning streak, like top 5 contender, you probably should get a title shot.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be decisive win. No, but now if you're able to knock out 2 out of those 3, then yeah, you definitely deserve the title. Another fight that some people were looking for was Conor versus Chandler, which is being announced since Jesus left Chicago. Whenever they did the Ultimate Fighter, remember then? That he was joking around that he might do the fight at 185. He was like, no, it's gonna be 170. Hey, you do what you're told. Conor gets Chandler. Hey, you do what you're told. But meanwhile, that deal did not happen. As far as fight. Another one's John Jones Fallout. Oof, for that card. So interesting enough, that announcement created another ripple of heavyweight division. Because shortly after the news broke, John Jones publicly voiced frustration about not being scheduled for the card and even hinted wanting out of the UFC. I see his post here, like he posted on.
Yeah, didn't sound like a hint to me. It sounded like he wanted the White House card, or he wants out completely.
Yeah, he was wanted to literally just his way or no way. But this right here. So she's like, if you was asking him about he was released from the UFC, he'd be a bigger man. Dude, he cannot shy away from the spotlight if he wanted to. And that's what, look at this span. Well, this right here was within like 60-minute span. He's posted all this stuff right here.
Yeah. Temper tantrum.
Yeah. So all this negotiating was complete bullshit. Is that what you want me to agree to publicly? Am I supposed to publicly agree with our negotiations was a lie? We have a problem. Oh man. He cannot shy away from the spotlight. You take it away from him, he's PC about it. Oh man. I mean, Masvidal said they were willing to give him $30 million in negotiation to go against Aspinall at first. But now with this white card, I guess they were trying to lowball him from that money. I mean, he has done a lot for the sport and for the organization, but also he has cost them a lot too along the way.
Yeah.
Our cars falling out through more than once. He had the PD issues. He had tore pec, which was he had to reschedule the Stipe Miocic match. You know, I have knowledge now. Given now, this might be part of the negotiation part. $30 million was offered to him before they knew about his hip issue for hip replacement. Now they know that, and the chances are they're going to lowball him because of that hip.
Yeah.
That kid literally fuck him. The kid with the glasses.
Yeah.
I recorded that video. He fucked him out of a $30 million deal.
Yeah.
But he
Oh my
killed
gosh.
that kid.
Yeah. He better be hiring a bodyguard or something.
Have his lawyer with him at all times.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if he did that, he'd probably be able to not get as many DUI if he has his lawyer with him. Bison, like, dude, I don't think this is a good thing for you to do, man. He could save a couple of DUIs. Now, from tension and controversy, let's move into the moment that shows how time can change things in combat sports. Two fighters who once had one of the most famous knockouts in MMA history, Ben Askren and Jorge Masvidal, recently met up and buried the hatchet. So Jorge Masvidal KO Askren back in UFC 239 in a record knockout. I think it was like 19 seconds on that was the crazy time. Or 9 seconds on that was the time. I can't remember how much it was. But Jorge Masvidal was able to fly to Wisconsin and squash the beef with Ben Askren. It's nice to see how time healing rivalries into combat sports. So they're able to sit together. He's able to see, according to Ben Askren, he's able to hold grudges after the incident that happened last year. He came die so many times during that time, and he was able to learn that he doesn't have to hold grudges against people, and people to talk with Masvidal and see that how many things they have in common and they agree with rather than disagree with, which a lot of people can learn from nowadays.
Yeah, that's very true. I don't know. I'm curious what kind of beef they had. Because, I mean, I know that was a brutal knockout, but like, why? I don't know.
Ben Askren is known to be an instigator and trash talker. He likes to troll a lot before the fight.
Okay.
He was talking trash to Masvidal, and Masvidal was freaking raging. He's like, dude. He was talking to him like he was going to stab him after the fight. Literally,
Yeah.
dude, I'm gonna fucking kill you when you go in there. And he went in there and he just blasted. He's like, crushed never, that's what I call him.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna do that with me. He just went for a flying knee and knocked him out. Even after he knocked him out, he was still taunting him, just stiff on the ground, making fun.
Yeah, true.
Ben Askren took it, considering it was hard hit, he took it well. He's like, well, that sucked. That's what he posted on his Twitter. But then when they asked Masvidal in the post-fight conference, like, dude, do you think the fights that like during the fight, you kept hitting him after he was out? Do you think that was necessary? Like, what? They were super necessary. This is the referee's job to pull me away. Now he was, what about hitting me and woke him up? I had to keep hitting him.
I do remember that now that you say it. Yeah.
It's super necessary. So probably that's what had to do with their beef going on.
Yeah.
And he was still holding a grudge on both ends. One guy was getting hit after he was knocked out. Another one, he was still salty about what Ben Askren had said, because even after he got knocked out, probably he has said all other stuff about Masvidal. But it's nice to see that they were able to find a common ground, because a lot of people, certain interactions that you go with people, in just one thing, they just flip it and they hang on to that as a grudge, which is a minimal inconvenience. And just people just run with it. And they get mad about it. You just shouldn't hold on to grudges. Something that, for example, in traffic, people just go crazy just over that one small incident. But sometimes somebody just go over the line. Probably they're distracted, trying to reach for something on the ground, be on their phone. They were really trying to swerve you out of the road or something like that.
Yeah.
But just for that instant, like, do I see the person pull over somewhere and I beat the shit out of them or something like that? Like, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes maybe somebody was having a bad day. They were not fully focused on the driving. You never know. Everybody has a bad day. People have good days. And more than likely, you have more bad days than good days, because that's fucking life. So give it the benefit of that, unless they're a serial killer or they're a terrible person. Don't give a benefit of that.
Yeah. There's limits to that, but yeah, for the most part.
For the most part, not many people that you know of are serial killers, are terrible people. You'll have bad things to happen to them. But it's nice to see them. That's not the rivalry that were good. We've seen Uriah Faber and Dominic Cruz last year bury their hatchet. I seen some posts about Charles Oliveira and Silva also burying the hatchet. That's nice to see, because it is a sport and there are things bigger than just a sport and competition. In other sports like wrestling, Burroughs, he said that he stay away from talking to David Taylor, which is a good wrestler, because he had to face him, and he didn't want to have any relationship with him. But he could benefit from training with him for worlds and other competition internationally, because both of them are Team USA. But because he didn't want to give him any or had to become better at beating him, he didn't want to build a relationship with him. It is good to have good relationship with anyone, even though they are your competitor. They're not your enemy. That's a different fine line that you have to understand, that unless they're a terrible person that they like to cheat and stuff like that, you cannot be friends with that person. But before we move on, I want to take a moment to recognize something bigger than just the wins and losses. This month we celebrate International Women's Day, and this year marks the historic milestone for combat sport. For the first time ever, the NCAA held the official NCAA Women's Wrestling Championships. Think about that. For decades, women fought for a place on the mat, training in small rooms, club programs, and tournaments that rarely got recognition, but they kept showing up and they kept winning. Athletes like Helen Morales, Tamara Stock proved that the world that women's wrestling belongs in the biggest stages. And now new generations is taking the torch. Stories like Bella Mir winning the national championship in her senior year, pinning the very opponent who beat her early on the season. That's wrestling, that's wrestling, and that's history being written one match at a time. Now, this is the first time they had the women's NCAA championship, which coincidentally happened on the same weekend as International Women's Day, March 8th. McKendree won the nationals this year as a team, beating Iowa by, I think it was 5 points or something like that. I think 176, 169 was the team score. Considering Iowa is a big team for D1, the program, why is this moment historic? For decades, women's wrestling existed mostly through club programs, IA competitions, which is kind of like junior college, international freestyle wrestling, in which that makes it interesting because women's college wrestling, they use international rules. It's not like men's college wrestling, they do folk style, they do freestyle rules, which makes them develop more for the international circuit for women because they have more reps in the style. Meanwhile, men, they most of the time they focus out into their college career. Some of them struggle doing that crossover.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. It makes sense to prepare them a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why.
No, the NCAA is just stuck on the folk style way of wrestling. It gives them more time to wrestle on the ground, and that's maybe a reason why. And they have been making rules recently to incentivize ground wrestling because in freestyle, there's the most ground wrestling unless you're either pinning them or trying to turn them for points. Folk style, you have more chances of being on top from referee's position, finding ways to turn them in different positions, trying to dominate or holding somebody in their back for pinning combination, which it does translate to jiu-jitsu because you have more ground, you're able to hold positions better in all the sports. Recently, some of the rules that they included was, I think it was the last 10 years, they came up with a rule of you hold a leg for 5 seconds, they consider stalling, and they reset you again. And they stop the riding clock as well. Also, if you stand up with you or somebody's back, it's your job to bring them down to the mat because the reason you're on their back is because you're trying to pin them down or go for a turning position. Standing up is not going to do much if you just hold them their back. If you don't bring them down, that's considered stalling as well. Yeah. So you just hold their back for no reason. You just hold their back. You already got your point for the takedown. Why are you holding their back if you're not trying to go put them on their back and try to pin them? Mm-hmm. But for women's wrestling is one of the fastest growing sports in the United States. In high school and also in college, more than 60 plus NCAA programs are expected within the next few years. Many state high schools now sanction girls wrestling divisions, in which it is good to see women's wrestling and girls wrestling because they bring that spirit of a community. Because guys, they don't have really a community, they just like competing and stuff like that. And they focus for different. It's a good thing because girls, they like to cheer on each other. Also, they have really fierce rivalry against each other. That's something my wife brings up whenever we go wrestling. She says she doesn't like guys wrestling because just dick around instead of trying to go for things. Girls just go for pins and just beating the shit out of you. That's what all they care about. It makes for good matches.
Yeah, I believe that. Wow, I mean that's all the difference in the world.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think it took so long for NCAA to recognize women's wrestling? Because until now,
Do you think it's a lack of competition, lack of competitors?
maybe. So go back. The first women's Olympic um was in 2008. No, it was 2008. Was it? I think it was Beijing was the first one that had women's wrestling. So it has been recently because I think Sarah McMahon, she got silver in there that year. And back then she was wrestling with boys. The conflict with people nowadays, guys competing in girls sport. Back then, girls had to compete in guys sport because there was no girls division. Finally, they do it. Maybe that took NCAA that long because not many states that had sanctioned girls wrestling, so they didn't have a direct path of who was good or who was not that good. If you won state in California as a girl, you were fucking legit because you were going against everybody, against all those boys. But all those girls that were weeded out because they were going against boys. But now, if you have a girls sanction in different states and you see who's really good within the girls division, that's probably the NCAA saw, oh, we have a market and have competitors in which we can pull for and host a national tournament because we have the competitors and also we have the fans to be able to fill up those seats as well because that's what the NCAA looks at, seats to take up for this
Okay.
competitor to come and see them. But also, NCAA might be, if NCAA being involved. Have you heard of Title IX? So Title IX is kind of supposed to be equal opportunity for women in college wrestling, in college sports. So for every team that you have in your program, you have to have the same amount of teams in women's sport. Yeah. But if you want to bring a new men's team, you can bring a women's wrestling team and you can expand on that way. Because wrestling is not expensive as other one. You're able to have some tournaments here and there. You just need a mat. They just wear their own shoes. Just have a coach. It's not expensive compared to other sports that have all the other equipment that have to helmet, pads, all different coach. Because team is not that big, maybe 6 to 10 members in each weight class compared to 52 people in a football team. That might be another incentive for some of the schools to bring in. So like, if they have the money to afford it, because if it's this fast growing sport in the United States, because there weren't that many people now, all those girls that were wrestling in boys, they're wrestling in their own girls division now.
Yeah, that's got to be, I don't know, it's got to be pretty exciting for the girls, I would think.
Because they have the opportunity outlet for them to compete.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's very cool to see. The grappling growing.
Yeah. Yes, because there also has outlet for them a scholarship as well. Be able to go on to the next level.
Yeah.
One of the thing that I seen for this weekend was Bellamere, was Frank Mir's daughter. She won the tournament. This is her senior year. She wrestled for Iowa her freshman year. She had injury-ridden season, and then she transferred to North Central. The girl that was number one seed beat her. I think Reese was her first name. Beat her early in the season. And she's the girl wrestler for Iowa, and then they went against each other in national finals, and she pinned her, which is crazy to pin somebody in national finals.
Yeah.
I've seen a short documentary about her because she wants to become the first UFC daughter to win a champion, being a daughter of a champion in the UFC. In one advice that Dana White gave her, which she considered him as an uncle, he told her that if you want to be good, MMA would be here. As you get older, you don't have to go straight to MMA because she's 3-0 in MMA. Dana White advised her to go into college wrestling.
Interesting.
Whatever you do, you can put the MMA career right now in a pause and go into college wrestling because she has a good base to go from. And she has been doing jiu-jitsu and grappling since she could walk. So she had a good background in grappling.
That is pretty interesting advice. I mean, really, you see it over and over again, like the wrestling being a good route, a good base for a lot of people in the UFC. Lots of wrestlers making it up to the top.
Yeah. They had a couple of women like Tatiana Suarez, like I mentioned earlier. Carla Esparza, former champion. She was also a wrestler. She was pretty decent in high school. That's why she wore a singlet whenever she came to fight in MMA fights. She was wearing a singlet because she's a former wrestler.
Yep.
Like I mentioned earlier, Sarah McMahon, she took silver in, I think it was Beijing. No, I think it was Athens that she got it. I can't remember, but she won silver that year. She wrestled for the UFC and she wrestled for Bellator. I mean, she fought for UFC and Bellator at the same time. She was off in the ranking, so she was pretty good. Another champion, Juliana Pena. She's up there from Seattle. She wrestled in high school. Same as Misha Tate. She was wrestled for Pacific Northwest. I think she's from Washington, that she wrestled in high school. So there's a lot of wrestling background that are in the MMA community.
Be interesting to see. I mean, if this grows, I mean, it should, right? It should grow that number even more. The percentage of female fighters in the UFC who are wrestlers or were wrestlers. So that should be a pretty exciting metric to watch.
Yes, it should be. The Olympic route is difficult to go to because you only have handful and it's every 4 years. ADCC is every 2 years, but if you think ADCC is bad, Olympics every 4 years and you don't get paid shit for it unless you get a medal. But if you go to the MMA route and you have other promotions that are coming up, like the Netflix MVP promotion, just a couple of them there, be able to get some matches in there. Yeah, felt they had a tournament. I think it was this Carmouche was in a tournament whenever they came here to Charlotte. They have a women's division. I want to say it was $500,000 was the winner of the tournament and the champion of the weight class.
Okay. Wow. That's significant.
Yeah, that's a good incentive to go that way for MMA. Also, you have, like I said, Olympic success translating to college opportunities, NIL deals, which I think, I want to say the highest pay, I don't know, I'm not sure about that. The highest paid NIL athlete was a gymnast for LSU.
Really?
Yeah. Better looking than football players, some may say. In which also for the sport wise, I'm pretty sure women will bring more people into the sport than men because how rough are men? Tape up face, bleeding everywhere, cauliflower ears, compared to girls wrestling.
Good point. We'll see though. I mean, the increased competition for the girls might drive up that. It might have to get uglier to make it farther.
Chris Cyborg and Jessica Andrade coming there.
Yeah, exactly.
Jandiroba. But not everybody's like good looking, but they're better looking than men. And also, they are good looking and they go for the kill. They are technical, for most of the time, they use that technical part to go for the finish rather than just gaming around,
which is what everybody wants to see.
Yeah. How many times you see somebody having a lead and they just want to hold on to the lead rather than go for a finish? Very seldom do you see that in women's sport. Unless they have a male coach.
Yeah.
You've seen that whenever, I think it was, I can't remember who was the comedian talk about that. I think it was, I can't remember his name. He's from New Orleans. He said that if I was a coach and my a coach for a woman in the UFC, if she was losing, I would just tell her to calm down. She would go there on one, destroy the other girl. Calm down. Trigger word. Definitely don't say that during the coaching.
It's how to get a fatality.
Yeah. Why are you yelling at me? But yeah, I would like to see that the women's wrestling is no longer just a niche sport. It's becoming a pilot, not just Olympic champions, but the future stars in combat sports. So also you can transfer to jiu-jitsu. I mean, Helen Morales, she already reached the pinnacle of Olympic wrestling and went into jiu-jitsu, and she's able to do well in there.
Yes, yeah, very well.
Imagine having a blue belt bracket and seeing her in there. Is she a blue belt or is she not a blue belt outside? I think she's at the time she was Olympic gold medalist and bronze medalist.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure you're right on that.
And how many times world champion as well. I would like to see this too for the United States to develop their women's wrestling because Japan is years away from that. Their women's wrestling is so dominant and so technical that's just ridiculous. It's like the Penn State of wrestling. But if the United States is able to be able to get this program going, then I can see that being the case. But you see some Japanese girls that are actually also wrestling collegiate in the United States. Some of them are JUCO, other ones in D1 too. Yeah. This is the land of opportunity for a reason. And if people are good in sport and we have a sport in which we want teams to win, they're more than likely going to sign those athletes that are good internationally, in which international rules applies in this kind of competition within the NCAA. Because some of those women might not have the same opportunity for education in other countries. But if it comes to the United States, they might get the education and get to compete at the same time.
That's a valid point.
Everybody grows from it. And Korean wrestlers to the top. People might learn something from those Japanese wrestlers that come here and wrestle in college. Just like Japan was able to learn from all the countries whenever the Olympics took place there. Because whenever their wrestling team got better over the 4 years between Tokyo and was 3 years because it was a COVID year. This is 2020 Tokyo, but it's actually 2021. But during that time, they were able to develop the program. Like everybody medal in their teams wrestling. What did they learn from there? I don't know what they learned from that event. But Korean wrestlers to the top if you were to put in the time in that discipline. I don't have anything else. Do you have any? Okay. Do you want to close out?
You guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Give us a listen on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, iHeartRadios, and iTunes. Give us a follow on Instagram. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. Thank you guys for listening.
Thanks for tuning in to the Mad Matters podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and YouTube so you never miss an episode. Drop us a review, share with your training partners, and keep rolling on and off the mat. Until next time, keep fighting, keep learning, keep growing.